Hi, Icy. Hi, Nhi.
Hi, teacher.
Hello, teacher.
Okay. Let's go. Let's go to part 3. Okay, bringing up children. Should parents give advice to help their kids decide what friends they make? Now think about this question. Should parents give advice to help their children decide what friends they make? So this means, say for example, Nhi and Icy wants to be friends. Now Icy's mom will give her advice if Nhi is a good friend or not. Maybe there's a different friend that Icy wants or that Nhi wants. Maybe Nhi is asking her mom, what do you think about V as a friend? So your parents will give you advice about what friends you are with and what you do with your friends. So Nhi, do you think parents should say something or give advice, or they shouldn't? You can read this question, this answer, and then we can make our own answer.
Oh, it cuts both ways to my mind. On the one hand, parents should advise their kids on friendships they make as it is natural for parents to do their best to protect kids from bad influence as well as from unhealthy and possibly toxic relationships. But on the other hand, such advice can often do more harm than good, creating anxiety or resentment and, as a result, breaking good parent-children relationship. What is more, it can prevent children from learning to nurture positive relationships in the future, which is also a downside. So I'll say that everything depends on the children and the situation they are in. Regrettably, there is no universal answer to this question.
Okay, because it's a good thing, because the parents can help you choose great friends that protects you. They won't harm you or, say for example, put you in any danger. But then it could, say you like a friend and your mom says, no, 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 you're not allowed to be friends. Now you can start being angry or hating your mother because your mother doesn't want you to see that friend. So then your relationship with your mother is toxic. Okay. But on the other hand, what about the future? How will you choose a husband or a friend or a colleague when your mother has to do it for you all the time? You won't be able to recognize if the person is good or bad. Okay, so Icy, what do you think? Do you think your parents should help you choose your friends? Icy, you need to unmute. Icy? Icy, can you hear us? Okay, if you can hear us, you have to unmute. There we go. Okay, should parents give advice?
Yes, in my opinion, I uh, parents should give advice to help their kids to decide some uh, to decide that what friends they make. Um, mm, uh, Parents can easy to know that their uh, um, friends are bad or good, and they know how to uh, help their kids to choose friends.
Okay, so let's say should parents, so let's say yes and no comes to mind. On the one hand, parents have life experience and can see something their kids can't. It can protect their kids from unhealthy or even toxic relationships. It is natural for parents to do their best to protect their children from bad influences. Okay, so let's say to the something there. Let's say children can't. To protect their children from unhealthy. Okay. On the other hand, it can often do more harm than good because it won't help their children to recognize unhealthy relationships. It can create anxiety and resentment between the parent and the child. So, on the other hand, it can often do more harm than good because it won't help their children to recognize unhealthy relationships in the future. Let's say in the future. In the future. It can also create anxiety and resentment between the parent and the child. Okay, Icy, see if you can read this for us.
Yes and no comes to mind. On the one hand, parents have life experience and can see something their children can't. It can protect their children from unhealthy or even toxic relationships. It is natural for parents to do their best to protect their children from bad influence. On the other hand, it can often do more harm than good because it won't help their children to recognize unhealthy relationships in the future. It can also create anxiety and resentment in between the parents and the child.
Okay. Nhi, you can read it.
Yes and no comes to my mind. On the one hand, parents have life experience and can see something their children can't. It can protect their children from unhealthy or even toxic relationships. It is natural for parents to do their best to protect their children from bad influences. On the other hand, it can often do more harm than good because it won't have their children to recognize unhealthy relationships in the future. It can also create anxiety and resentment between the parent and children.
Okay. Icy, I want you to read it again.
Yes and no comes to mind. On the one hand, parents have life experience and can see something their children can't. This can protect their children from unhealthy or even toxic relationships. It is natural for parents to do their best to protect their children from bad influence. On the other hand, it can often do more harm than good because it won't help their children to recognize unhealthy relationship in the future. This can also create anxiety and resentment between the parents and the child.
Okay, now let's have a look at the next question. Do you think children should have lots of toys, Nhi?
Uh, yes, I do. I think that children should have a lot of toys. On the one hand, toys they can use toys to play with them when their parents are busy with work and they can play with toys in their free time. Uh, Secondly, they also can share their toys to play with their friends or neighborhood or neighbor that are as the same age with them, so they can construct relationship with other people.
Okay. What about you, Icy? Do you think kids should have lots of toys?
Um, yes, I think that children should have a lot of toys. Because children need toys to improve their brain and um, to be more uh, to be more clever with the toys, and children can um, learn how to clean the toys when they have a lot of toys.
Okay. It is known that some children are gifted with a huge amount of toys from their parents or say grandparents. Toys in the modern world help to achieve better, it's cognitive, the word you were looking for, Icy, cognitive development. Okay. However, the downside is that the child tend to lose interest because of having too many play items. So if you give a child 20 toys to play with, the child is going to lose concentration and interest. The child won't want to play with it anymore because it's old. Because children's concentration span is very short, maybe only 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay, not like us. I can sit for 3 hours and concentrate all 3 hours. On a day where I'm tired, I can maybe concentrate for an hour. But a child can concentrate for a few minutes. Yeah, they've got a very short concentration span. So if I put 20 toys in front of your baby sister, Icy, she's going to lose concentration. She's going to lose interest. Everything is going to be boring for her. If you give her 2 or 3, then later you give her the other 2 or 3. You're going to keep her interested in the toys because it's new toys all the time. So it is known that some children are gifted. Parents buy gifts for their children with lots of toys. Toys in the modern world help to achieve better cognitive development. That's what we want. That's what toys do. They develop your brain, your cognitive thinking. However, the downside is that the child tends to lose interest because they've got too many play items or too many toys. So cognitive development is your brain enhancement. It enhances your brain. It develops your brain. Items such as puzzles, building blocks, puzzles and building blocks helps to improve the thought process. So it helps them to think. Okay. Therefore, many toys can be beneficial in terms of education. So, Icy's mom can buy her sister a doll, a puzzle, balancing blocks, coloring in pencils, or a book. But if Icy's sister has 10 dolls, what is she developing up here? She's not developing too much. She can develop how to look after toys, how to clean her dolls, how to wash their hair, how to put on clean clothes. That teaches her life skills. But puzzles, balancing blocks, coloring in, that helps with the thought process, how to think. Okay, so these are educational games. Okay, so it is known that some children are gifted with a huge amount of toys from their parents. Toys in the modern world help to achieve better cognitive development. However, the downside is that the child tends to lose interest because of having too many play items. Items such as puzzles and building blocks help to improve the thought process. Therefore, many toys can be beneficial in terms of education. In conclusion, or you can say to conclude, even though it is advantageous for children, it is positive for children to have many toys in developing their brain activities or their brain activity. It is also let me think of a word. Demerits, I don't know, demerits, I will play this word for you. Demerits, because it creates No, because because the child can lose concentration and interest quickly. Let me take this up here. Okay. To conclude, even though it is advantageous for children to have many toys in developing developing their brain activity, it is also demerits because the child can lose concentration and interest quickly. Let me play that word for you. Yeah. Let me play it for you here. The merits is like something at fault, something that's not good. Okay, let me play it English to Vietnamese. Okay. The merits. Here.
Khuyết điểm. Khuyết điểm.
I play it for you. Right. Okay, that's the word. You don't have to say that word. You can say it is also, or you can say the negative part is that your child can lose concentration and interest. You don't have to say that word. Let me type it for you here. So here, if you don't want to say this word, you can say the negative part is that the child can lose concentration and interest quickly. So you can say that if you don't want to say demerits. Brain activity, the negative part is that the child can lose concentration and interest quickly. Even though it is positive for children to have many toys, you don't have to say adventurous. You can say positive there at the end if you want to. Okay, I see you can read. I see you need to unmute, sweetie.
You just know that some children are given with a huge amount of toys from their parents. Toys in the modern world to achieve better cognitive development. However, the downside is that the child tend to lose interest because of having too many play items. Items such as puzzles and building blocks help to improve the process. Therefore, many toys can be beneficial in terms of education. To conclude, even though it is advantageous of our children to have many toys in developing their brain activity, it is also the demerit.
You don't have to use that word. You can say the negative part is that the child can lose concentration and interest quickly. You don't have to use the merits, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and Nhi, you try.
It is known that some children are given with a huge amount of toys from their parents. Toys in the modern world have to achieve better cognitive development. However, the downside that the children tend to lose interest because of having too many play items. Items such as puzzles and building blocks help to improve the thought process. Therefore, many toys can be beneficial in terms of education. To conclude, even though it is advantageous for children to have many toys in developing their brain activity, this is also the negative part. Is um it is also then read the negative part.
No, not after the comma. You say the negative part is.
Uh, it is also dangerous because the
Not
child.
it is. So you can go here. There. Take that away. Okay, read there. The negative part.
The negative part is the child can lose concentration and interest quickly.
Okay, let's try again. Read it again.
It is known that some children are given a huge amount of toys from their parents. Toys in the modern world had to achieve better cognitive development. However, the downside is that the child tends to lose interest because of having too many play items. Items such as puzzles and building blocks help to improve the thought process. Therefore, many toys can be beneficial in terms of education. To conclude, even though it is advantageous for children to have many toys in developing their brain activity, the negative part is that the child can lose concentration and interest quickly.
There we go. Should parents give advice to their children for their children to decide what friends they make?
Yes and no comes to my mind. On the one hand, parents have life experience and can see something that children can't. It can protect their children from unhealthy or even toxic relationships. It is natural for parents to do their best to protect their children from bad influences. On the other hand, it can often do more harm than good because it won't help their children to recognize unhealthy relationships in the future. It can also create anxiety and resentment between the parent and the child.
Okay. Icy, do you think children should have lots of toys?
It is known that some are gifts with a huge amount of toys from their parents. Toys in the modern world have to achieve better cognitive development. However, the downside is that the child tend to lose interest because of having too many played items. Items such as puzzles and building blocks have to improve the whole process. Therefore, many toys can be beneficial in the terms of education. To conclude, even though it is advantageous for children to have many toys in developing their uh, their brain activity, the negative part is that the child can lose concentration uh, and interest quickly.
Okay. Icy, should parents give advice to their children or to their kids to help their kids decide what friends they make?
yes and no comes to mind. On the one hand, parents have life experience and can see something their children can't. This can protect their children from unhealthy or even toxic relationships. It is natural for parents to do their best to protect their children from bad influence. On the other hand, it can often do more harm than good because it won't have their children to recognize unhealthy relationships. It can also create anxiety and resentment between the parents and child.
Okay. Nhi, do you think children should have lots of toys?
It is known that some children are given a huge amount of toys from their parents. Toys in the modern world help to achieve better cognitive development. However, the downside that the child tend to lose interest because of having too many play items. Items such as puzzles and building blocks help to improve the thought process. Therefore, many toys can be beneficial in terms of education. To conclude, even though it is advantageous for children to have many toys in developing their brain activity, the negative part is that the child can lose concentration and interest quickly.
Okay. Now, let's see if you can remember something and then we can go on to the, oh, let's say, hang on. Let's go on to the next one first. Okay. Do you think parents should make decisions for their children? Okay, I see you can read this one. Okay, Nhi, you can read?
To my mind, everything depends on a child maturity. If a decision is really crucial, but a child is still living in a world of fantasy and doesn't clearly understand the rules of real life, of course, parents should interfere and give the kid a hand. They can share their huge experience, which they are accumulated throughout life in order to help their child avoid potential danger, learn to realize the consequences of different decisions. But if a child is psychologically mature and ready to take responsibility for their choices, I guess parents should accept their choices and decisions, viewing the happenings from sidelines. This way, they will bring up a confident and independent child who will feel in control with themselves.
I agree with that. If your mom makes all your decisions for you, you're not going to be able to make decisions when you are older or in the future. You must be able to, if you are mature enough, that's why they say here, it depends on the child's maturity. If the child thinks everything is a joke and everything is just playing, the child is not going to make the right decisions. But if the child is mature enough, the child will be able to make the right decisions for them. And by letting the child making that decision, um, the child will be able to feel confident to make decisions in the future, to be independent. I see. At what age do you think children can make decisions on their own? How old do you think they should be?
Can you repeat the question?
At what age can children make decisions on their own?
Uh, I think 30.
30? 30 years old? 13.
30.
Okay, why 13?
Because I think in grade 8 that is enough to have a vision.
I can't hear. Say again.
I think that in the grade 8 as uh, enough to enough age to make the
I can't hear what you are saying. Try again.
I think in grade 8 is uh, enough to make the decisions.
Okay. But now you have to give me a paragraph, not just one or two sentences. So say more. You have to add more to your story.
And in grade 8 and have a grow in grade 9 and uh, grade 9 to the high school and to choose high school and the best school that suitable with a person.
Okay. Nhi, at what age can children make decisions on their own?
Uh, I think that when they after 18 years old.
Okay, why?
Uh, I think because before 18 they maybe at 15 years old in Vietnam they will have uh, to choose which field that they are suitable to study for high school. But uh, at 15 years old, they still very young to choose. So um, their parents and children can make like uh, nego negotiate or a debate which field that they are suitable